The Marvels. But this one I'm pretty excited for. Not super crazy excited, but I think it could be interesting. I think the thing that's kind of drawing me to it the most is the whole switcheroo aspect, where at the end of Miss Marvel, she tries to activate her powers and then she's suddenly transported somewhere else, and then Carol Danvers' character kind of gets teleported to her dimension. I think that would be a really cool twist. I know eventually they'll all kind of group together and, be the Marvels and everything, but to have maybe the first act of this movie kind of be kind of like the switcheroo that these characters are going through, be a really fun aspect and kind of get fans on board with this storyline and everything. But yeah, I think the thing that I'm most excited for is kind of seeing these characters in unfamiliar situations, seeing Captain Marvel suddenly in this teenage girl's bedroom in New Jersey. It's like, wait, what the heck is going on? I think something that Marvel should do, which I'm hoping they do with Captain Marvel's character, is kind of humble her character down a little bit more, just because, especially in Endgame and kind of in Captain Marvel, she's kind of this OP character, this overpowered character where she can kind of just swoop in and take down Thanos' ships. She's kind of the Hail Mary of the Avengers, can hold her own, go toe-to-toe with Thanos and everything. With Captain Marvel, it wasn't my favorite movie, and she's not my favorite character. She's obviously a very strong character, which is great, but I feel that's kind of the only aspect to her character. She's just strong, and that's it. I really liked more of the flawed characters, like Black Widow or Gamora, Hope Van Dyne, Wanda. They have a full personality, the three-dimensional personality, where they can be vulnerable, they can be flawed, they can make mistakes and stuff like that. And with Captain Marvel, she's kind of perfect in a way. She's confident, she doesn't make any mistakes, she's overpowered and everything. So I think kind of bringing her character down, so to speak, bringing her into an unfamiliar situation, and then having her team up with these two different heroes would be really, really cool for a character. But yeah, speaking of which, I think seeing Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, in this movie, she's supposed to switch places with Monica Rambeau, and then suddenly she's in space. So talk about unfamiliar situations where, suddenly you're in your bedroom in New Jersey, and then suddenly you're in an astronaut suit in space. So I think that'd be really fun for her character as well. Kind of a fan service moment for her where, she's idolizing Captain Marvel, and then suddenly she finally gets to work with her in a way. So I think that'd be really cool, and kind of a lesson of don't meet your heroes, where on one side you have Miss Marvel kind of idolizing Captain Marvel clearly, and then maybe she finally meets her and it's oh, you're not really who I thought you were going to be, and then having to deal with, I guess, disappointment in a way of meeting your heroes, and then kind of gradually learning to work with them and understand them a little bit more of who they are and why they do what they do. So I think that'd be a good maturing aspect for Miss Marvel, and kind of set her up for Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars of learning to be a team player, learning to see people who they really are and not necessarily how you kind of see them in your mind's eye and everything. So I think that would be cool for her character. And then on the flip side with Monica Rambeau, where there's some tension between her and Captain Marvel, which we don't really see too much. It gets kind of hinted at in WandaVision. We don't really see it in fruition. So once we kind of put those two characters together, I think would be really interesting, kind of see that conflict where it's opposite Miss Marvel, where it's I don't idolize this person, but suddenly I have to work with them in a way. So I think that'd be really interesting, seeing those two get together and team up. But yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for this movie. I wasn't the biggest fan of Captain Marvel, so when it was going to be Captain Marvel 2, I was okay, yeah, of course, because I know it made $1 billion at the box office, so you got to make a sequel. But to kind of bring in Miss Marvel, bring in Monica Rambeau, kind of add to this dynamic and be the Marvels instead of just Captain Marvel 2, gets me really excited. And then, like I said before, the whole switcheroo of characters transferring to different locations of where the previous Captain Marvel was, and then all of them kind of coming together for this conflict. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, looking forward to the team aspect, and then the character arcs that the three women are going to be going through will be really interesting. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for it, so we'll see how it goes. So we actually got quite a bit of updates from the Marvels. Looks like the rumors that were announced several months back are true, that Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau will be kind of having a switcheroo every time they activate their powers, and they have to work together to find out what's going on. We also got confirmation on a couple of the cast members. An actress named Zoe Ashton is going to be playing a character named Dar-benn. She's going to be playing a Kree warrior who wields Ronan the Accuser's hammer, and nothing's really confirmed beyond that. I'm guessing she's going to find out about Ronan the Accuser's death from the Guardians in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and she's going to be kind of on a vengeance quest to get rid of all the Marvel heroes, including Captain Marvel, which kind of sets up the premise for this movie, because Carol Danvers is going to be investigating a Kree wormhole, and that kind of sets all these events in motion. We also got confirmation on another actor named Park Seo-joon, and I saw him in the trailer. He looks like he might be playing some kind of boots on the ground warrior character. We also got confirmation that the actors who played Kamala's mother, father, and brother are going to be in the movie as well. Also, Lashana Lynch, who played Maria Rambeau from the first Captain Marvel, is going to be in it, and Randall Park is Jimmy Woo from WandaVision. We also got confirmation on an actor named Daniel Ings, who's going to be playing a character named Tyrone, and it looks like he's going to be kind of like the right-hand man to Dar-Benn's character. We also got confirmation on an actor named Colin Stoneley, who's going to be playing a character named Pap Tone, who's going to be a Kree scientist, as well as Goose the Cat, who's a
Flerken who resemble a cat from the first Captain Marvel movie.
Hopefully they'll have more of like a Nick Fury tie-in, like what he's doing with the Skrulls, and then kind of setting up this new Avengers aspect. Obviously he was in the first Captain Marvel movie, and he has a relationship with Captain Marvel and with Talos and the Skrulls. So it'd be nice if maybe there's like a little tie-in at the end of this movie that kind of ties back into Secret Invasion, because chronologically Secret Invasion comes first, and then we kind of get more of like Nick Fury's role in the MCU, just because based on like the lineup that we have right now for Phase 5, it seems like he's going to have like a really significant role. It's nice to see Nick Fury kind of like a bigger player in the MCU like he was in Phases 1 through 3, and kind of set up this next generation of Avengers to kind of set the stage for Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but at least for now, if they do end up killing him off, you know, they have more than enough heroes to take on Kang and Kang Dynasty. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that briefly.
Hey, jumping in again. So we actually got a couple updates with the Marvels. It looks like we had a new trailer, which had a lot more footage, especially with the whole story element of the 3 characters switching places every time they use their powers. And it looks like dar-benn is definitely going to be at the center of it all, especially since she has the other bangle. And if you watched Miss Marvel, you noticed that Kamala Khan actually had the other bangle, so it'd be interesting to see how that whole dynamic plays out. So I was reading an article by the director, and she was saying that that'll all be explained, how she got the bangle and how that ties into Kamala Khan's character, and how that kind of sparks this whole switcheroo concept of the characters switching places every time they use their powers. One thing I am excited for with the Marvels is the fact that we're really going to get into more of the origin of Captain Marvel, because in the first Captain Marvel movie, like they kind of cut back and forth between past and present, and you didn't really get to see the transition of after Carol Danvers' accident to becoming Captain Marvel, so you didn't really see that transition of like her struggling with her powers or her trying to figure out her relationship in the whole MCU. She's just kind of gets her powers and then she's this amazing OP character, so it'd be interesting to see kind of that transition and everything. And you know, the fact, like I said earlier, that she's going to be paired with these 2 different heroes, one who like absolutely admires her and then someone who has a lot of tension with her. It'd be nice to see like a more well-rounded character for Captain Marvel, so that's what I'm really excited to see with the Marvels. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it looks pretty fun. You know, I don't know if necessarily I'm going to go see it in theaters. I think I might wait for Disney Plus, just because like I've been saying earlier, the movies have been kind of hit or miss. Like the only really good movie so far in Phase 5 has been Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and that's really more self-contained. It doesn't really have to do with the larger MCU. So I'm a little bit hesitant of seeing it in theaters. Like I'll probably just wait for reviews to come out to see if it's actually good. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing it. I think the one downside about it is that 2 out of 3 characters are from Disney Plus series, and people who like a couple of my friends like haven't seen Miss Marvel or they haven't seen WandaVision, so they'll be kind of confused. They'll be like, okay, who's Kamala Khan? Like, who is Monica Rambeau? Like, who are these characters? And a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of Captain Marvel, including me. So I don't know if this will be a huge blockbuster, but you know, like I say earlier, Captain Marvel made $1 billion, so maybe the sequel is guaranteed to make $1 billion too. Who knows? Especially with the kind of, like I said earlier, like the whole hit or miss track record with the Marvel films. Like, I don't know if this will be super successful, but hoping that I'm wrong, hoping that it's good, and we'll see what happens with it. Hey, jumping in again. So we actually just got a couple more updates with the Marvels. We actually got a new trailer called Journey to the Marvels, and it kind of addressed all the problems I had earlier when it came to introducing the characters of Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan. So I know I said earlier that a lot of people would be confused about like who these characters are, because Monica was introduced in WandaVision and then Kamala Khan was introduced in Miss Marvel. So people who haven't been watching the Disney Plus series be kind of confused. So I'm glad they have this trailer that kind of acknowledges and addresses all these questions that people might have about these characters. So that's what I'm really hoping that they do with the movie. I'm hoping that they really kind of address these relationships that were formed with the Disney Plus series, and that these characters are properly introduced into the larger MCU. Speaking of the larger MCU, I'm just hoping that this movie really just kind of ties into the whole kind of Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars of it all. And I was reading an article that the director was saying that there will be a tie-in somewhere in the movie, so I'm hoping that we get that. And you know, obviously these characters are going to reappear in those future movies and, you know, fight Kang and everything like that. But kind of like my problems earlier with the whole MCU is that, you know, there's just not really a lot of like cohesion with the different projects and everything. Like, how does the Marvels, you know, tie into, you know, Loki that's going on, which I'm actually watching, which I really like. When's their whole like crossover going to happen with that? How's What If and Echo or Captain America Brave New World? How's this all going to, you know, tie in with each other? That's just like, you know, my problem with the MCU right now is just like nothing's really connecting, and you know, I feel like my excitement level for the MCU is just kind of slowly but surely going down. And you know, it doesn't really help that the whole review embargo won't be lifted until the day before the movie comes out, so we won't really get to see if the reviews for this movie are like good or bad, or you know, if this is just another like, kind of like waste of time, or just something that can just be watched on Disney Plus. So we'll see what happens with that. You know, usually in the past, like when review embargoes are lifted the day before, it's usually because the movie isn't that good and the filmmakers don't really believe in the movie. And then I think the social media reactions are supposed to be like a day or two before the movie comes out. So I don't really know, but either way, probably just gonna wait till Disney Plus to watch this, and we'll see if it ties in or not. But hoping that that happens and that it can be an upswing for Marvel. But right now, it just doesn't really look like there's really just a lot of hope for the MCU. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. Maybe this will be an awesome movie and get Marvel back on track. Like I said earlier, Loki's like actually really good right now, so I'm hoping that that kind of brings the excitement level up for the MCU. But yeah, overall, like a lot of my friends don't really even care about Marvel anymore. There's always like video essays online about like how the MCU's dying. So yeah, I'm just not really excited about the MCU really right now. So hoping the Marvels proves me wrong, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm not really the only one. I think projections said that it's supposed to open around $75 to $80 million at the most, and that's really like on the low end for MCU openings in the past. And also with the whole actor strike going on, Brie Larson and the other actresses aren't able to promote the movie or anything like that, so there's not really a lot of hype for it. I know there's a lot of trailers and TV spots, online and everything like that, but still, like, my circle of friends just aren't really excited about the Marvels, and like there's not really anyone that I know who's really excited for it. So yeah, I don't really know. So like I said before, like hopefully it'll be good, and hopefully it'll be successful. Hopefully it'll actually tie into larger MCU, and hopefully this can be an upswing for Marvel and get us back on track. But right now there's not really a lot of hope, but we'll see.